Okay, so I'm gonna feed Amari some yogurt here. Okay. And while I do that, I'm gonna talk a little bit. Because I'm thoroughly disgusted here with Marcane. I'm not even gonna call him my son anymore. No. No. I don't know what he brought home in terms of quote unquote a girlfriend, but let that dream that I had about him and her be a warning. She's gonna set him up, people. I'll tell you why I know this. Because her attitude is rotten. Okay? Seriously. So rotten. Okay. We know that my son is chucking out my shit. The weather is going to change soon. And ever since I moved in, people, my belongings in this house just get ruined. If they don't get stolen, they get ruined. Okay? I can't do a yard sale by myself. Okay, I need help. Tisha said yesterday she wasn't feeling well, whatever. I said, Tisha, you do realize on Saturdays nobody's out and about, right? They're at home, right? The traffic is low, whatever. Anyway, I phoned her up this morning. I said, well, what you going to do? Are you going to come by and, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? She says that her breasts are sore and all swollen because she stopped breastfeeding the baby yesterday because she's going in for breast augmentation because she's got, like, triple E. She got that from her Jamaican side with her dad. She didn't get it from me, people. She got it from her dad's side. And it's like a triple E or something. Like. And I told her, like, you know, you just need to nurse him for another year, right? You know, just everything will calm down. Oh, no. Anyway, she's already booked in fucking surgery. So she has to dry up her breasts first before she can have whatever they're going to remove from her to lighten it, right? I said, aren't you concerned about that? Like, aren't you worried for complications? Whatever. Oh, well, I had 2 C-sections, and I'm like, oh my God. As if I don't have enough to worry about. Now I'm going to be worrying about that. Okay, so no yard sale. Not that we'd sell anything today anyway, people. Right? And my son, you know, like I did tell him he could pack up a couple of other things in terms of children's books so that, you know, he'd have the wall unit downstairs, right? It's not like I'm not trying to be copacetic about this situation. But it's just not right, people. It's not right because we're talking thousands of dollars worth of stuff being thrown out into my garage. Now, mind you, it's in boxes or whatever, but that's not the point. It's going to start raining soon. The weather is changing, right? Most of it's just going to be put on the road to be given away. That's it. I told him, you're like a thief, Marcane. This is what a thief does. Only you did it in one swoop, right? I said I would have been better off to have a single man move in, pay his $800 or $900 a month or whatever it was, right? Have the kitchen to himself, have the bathroom to himself, basically, have the laundry room basically to himself. Could have cleared out, obviously, the living room a bit more. Was working on it, but it's not like I don't get any help, people, right? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm, right? Like, 2 days, 3 days trying to get Amari to poo again. I've been giving him these drinks again, and his shit's coming out hard. What does come out, it smells, it's black, and it's because of these drinks. we went from the Kid Essentials to the Complete. The Complete is doing the same thing that the Kid Essentials are doing, because I just sent Andre downstairs to go get me another box of this Complete stuff that was given to me, because I've been giving it to Amari a couple, 2-3 times a day. They want me to give him 4 a day. Anyway, I thought I'd give it my best shot, right? You know, right? And all it did was back him up. I've been giving him PEG with juice. It's not working. I had to use a suppository 3 days ago, right, to help him. And only a little bit came out, not enough. So I've been giving him the PEG, right? Now I had him on the toilet yesterday. He was pushing. I sat with him for like an hour and a half, people. I sat with him. Because what's happening is he's getting bigger and he's getting stronger, and he's getting more agile, right? He's moving more. And it's not like I can leave him in this toilet seat for any length of time unsupervised, because he's a Houdini baby. Like, he's getting stronger. Like, he's right? He's moving his body, and so I have to stay with him, people, to make sure he's safe. Okay? I can't leave him for any length of time. And plus, I don't want to leave him there for a long time by himself, sitting on a toilet. Because, to me, it's like, I'm not trying to punish him. So I try and help him and talk to him, and, and like an hour and a half, right? Like, this is pathetic. So anyway, I'm trying not to get all panicky. I used another little bit of suppository. He's going to go back on the toilet. Right? I'm back and forth, or I'm actually literally sitting with him for over an hour or however long. Okay? So, anyway, the stuff is piling up more and more in the garage. And I even attempted to try and talk to this girl. Last week, I went downstairs when Marcane went to work. She was down there. I heard her, right? I went down there, and I'm not trying to have a bad relationship with her, but there is no relationship with her. One, because my son doesn't want me really talking to her. He's being over possessive. He feels like he has to defend her, in terms of when we talk, when I talk to my son, I'm like, well, what kind of girl did you bring in that allows this to happen? In terms of just, right? Like, how would her parents feel? Anyway. So anyway, we had a fairly good conversation last week, just to let her know that, I'm okay. Like, it's hard, but, I understand from a 28-year-old's perspective, moving in with a boyfriend, wanting to, quote unquote, start a life, see, he's pushing, but I gave him a suppository, so hopefully this will help. So it's not, soon he's going on the toilet. And the whole day will be gone, people. Pretty much. So, anyway, I told her that I understand that they want space, and, and then I talked about my pot in that corner cupboard, and tucked way off into the back, and I talked about my pie pans, that when I make 25 pies, I like, my pie pans, and to which I can't even fucking find them now, right? Just stupid shit like that, and, she went off and told Marcane that we had a nice little talk, and, okay, whatever. Anyway, today, I'm like, and I told her, like, when things calm down and everything's all put away and everything out of the garage and it's all said and done with, that, I've got, like, beautiful fabric, people, and clothes that I can't wear anymore, and because, sews and stuff like this. And I told her about the business room, which is Tisha's room, and, and I just kind of left things open in terms of, there's going to be a day when I die, and if you're with Marcane, my kids aren't going to want this. They're not going to want that, but you might want something. So, if, right, you're going to be putting things in boxes and, and, right, and there's going to be something in there that you're going to want that maybe Marcane doesn't want or Tisha doesn't want. And that's okay, right? And then the only thing that I asked her in terms of, like, in regards to my son is just don't cheat on him. I said, because, like, why are you, like, what do you want from my son? Like, I asked her, like, what is it that you, right? Because if you're looking for a man that's monogamous, you've got the guy. Because it's hard to find a monogamous, a man that's willing to be monogamous. Right? But the thing is this girl monogamous? I don't think so, people. Because as soon as I said that to her, I said, like, if you guys break up, right, for example. Because I don't want my son to get hurt. You see, that's the thing. I don't want my son to get hurt by this girl. And I've already had a dream that she set him up. She set him up with other men, people. Where the men fucking were gangbanging him in terms of setting him up. And who knows? Maybe my son will end up dead yet. And it will be another one of those, well, you can't prove it, that his organs were illegally harvested. Well, that family comes into a big windfall through ICBC fake car insurance. Okay? I'm just saying. It could happen. Something set him up. I don't know how he's going to get set up. But he's going to get set up. And she's involved. Okay? She's involved. I tried to warn him. He said, oh, it's just a dream. I said, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll back off. I'm oversensitive right now. I'm under attack with various things in terms of court. And, you're throwing my shit out. And, and losing my eyesight. So, yeah, I'm hypersensitive right now. So, okay, if that's what you think. If you think you got yourself a quality woman, then who am I to question it? Okay? So I forced myself, people. I forced myself to calm down, try and look at it from a young woman's perspective in terms of moving in with a man that lives at home, basically, in the basement, right? Where it's overcrowded because, again, for months, I was asking Marcane to help me move things around and figure it out. For months, I was asking Tisha to come and fucking help me, but Tisha's sick, the baby's sick, Alex is sick, and, they gotta go to the beach, and they gotta go shopping, and they've got a birthday party, and Marcane's busy, and he doesn't want to do anything because he's not getting paid for it. So, of course, because I do what I do with Amari, and just whatever else that I've been doing, it wasn't a priority, right, in terms of and the times when I did want to go down there, my son would freaking, because I had the energy, people. When there was times I wanted to go down there and work, even if it meant working till 11 o'clock at night or whatever the hell it was, because I had the energy to do it, my son would run me out of there. And then he told me that I couldn't go down there unless it was during the hours of when he works. And that I wasn't allowed down there in the freaking weekend. I have to be down there between 9 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, even though I'm looking after Amari, cooking, cleaning, doing dishes. It can take me 4 fucking hours, just boo hours just to do dishes. So it's not getting done, right? And then I had the court. The court came in, right? I had to follow through on that to the best of my ability, people, on top of helping Amari go poo and cooking and dishes and laundry. And I don't use the laundry downstairs. I couldn't use it downstairs because my son, with his tree cutting, washes clothes, put it in the dryer, and there's like sawdust all over the place. He grabbed the lint and just pull it out and, scatter it around and, and scatter this and scatter that. And I mean, I haven't used that laundry room, people, for years. I never, ever get to use a dryer because of my son. That man. Okay? So anyway, I got this girlfriend all of a sudden, out of the fucking blue. Came out of nowhere, like a bat out of hell. Next thing you know, she's moving in. And the reason I'm upset is because I got up today, right? I've got the business room. I told you, I think I already mentioned, that I want to get a storage room so I can organize what I want to sell in terms of fabric and books. Okay, if I'm selling the book, I don't need the book in the house, being that my son is throwing everything out in the fucking garage. Okay, it's enough that there's $2,000 worth of shit in that garage that's probably just going to be pillaged. Okay, because this is like thievery for me. This is what it feels like. Somebody came in with a big fucking truck and just ran off with a whole bunch of shit. And I've been having lots of theft in that basement ever since I moved in. Okay? Sierra stole from me, right? Lots of people down there were stealing from me. Okay? Clayton stole from me down there, right? We got Julian stealing the potatoes now, and God knows what else she's stealing, right? This is what I mean, right? I've had homeless people in my garage stealing shit before in the past, okay? I told my son, this is no different than theft, only you're not doing a little here and a little there. You're doing it all at one time, and your girlfriend is helping you to do it, okay? But anyway, I went downstairs to express to them, both of them. And I went, and you see, this is the thing. I went downstairs on a positive note because the last time I spoke to this girl, I tried to be, like I say, copacetic. I tried to understand her position as a young woman, you know, in a difficult situation in terms of, you know, right? You know, because my son, oh, you asked me to stay because, you know, when I was wanting to move out. And the only reason I asked him to stay is because the landlady showed up with her son and threatened to have everything thrown out in the fucking bin. Basically. Okay? And of course I'm going to say to my son, well, gee, just maybe you should stop for a minute because I don't know if my landlords are going to come back with a big fucking bin and start chucking my shit out as they're locking me out of the house. Okay? Because it wasn't fucking funny. Because soon after that, I went blind. Okay? Pretty much. Anyway, so I asked him, well, before you run out too quick, don't you think we should wait and see what the landlords do? Right? In terms of whatever they're threatening to do? Whatever, I don't know, okay? So now he holds it over my head because I didn't clear out the basement fast enough in June. And he's been doing it. Okay, right? Literally, I almost had a nervous breakdown over that pot. Okay? Right? So, anyway, I had that conversation with that girl. You know, I'm trying to smooth things over. Let her know that I understand because I was young once too, starting off. Okay? In a relationship, whatever, right? New place, whatever. I understand. And I'm trying to be supportive. And I can even take it to the next level, being that I've got tons of fabric in this house. Lots of clothes that are beautiful clothes that if you want to help me to make money, I myself would be grateful of that, if you have time. Because my son always reminds me, they don't have time for nothing when it comes to me. Because they're living their own life. If I say to my son, well, maybe your girlfriend can help me to put things online. Oh, no, that's not what she wants to do. It's like, okay, whatever. So I just kind of put it in front of her so that, you know, when the honeymoon period is over and maybe things aren't going as good as she thought it was going to be, there was a backup where I was supportive and could maybe help her a little bit with some stock, quote unquote, being that she's interested in this shit, okay? In terms of fabric and all that crap. Okay. So this morning, but my son's telling me not to put some stuff in storage, and I'm like, in my head, no. I need to do that. I think so. you know, it's my business, because that little business room right now is just doing nothing. And, you know, she's sewing in the living room, right? And I'm trying to keep it open where, you know, I'm not trying to push her out, right? I'm not trying to assume that I've got another Julian or Austin on my hands, only this time it's a female. Okay? So, you know, being that my son likes to make things, costumes and stuff like that, I thought I could clear out that little room a little bit where both of them could have a sewing machine in there and just do whatever, because I've got my sewing upstairs, right? So it's not like I need to sew down there. I just want to get things moving, right? And, you know, I just went down there to mention it, that I'm really seriously thinking about, you know, putting some stuff in storage so it opens up that room a little bit more. So either or could use it in terms of just so that she doesn't have to live in this house for the next however long with the sewing machine on the kitchen table right where Shamay died. Like, does this girl even realize that she's sewing right exactly on the fucking spot where Shamay basically died? And being that they want more space, I'm trying to make a little extra space. Right? Anyway, I go downstairs to talk about this in terms of, Markane, I think I do want to get a storage room. Watch it, Amari. These are the reasons why. But when I go down there, I see more boxes. More boxes, and the boxes are getting fucking bigger. And I haven't even dealt with what's outside in the garage yet. And the weather's changing. Okay. So of course I'm like, well, what's this? What's going on? Oh. You know, he's getting kind of rude. And I'm looking in the box, and I'm like, you do realize you're throwing out thousands of dollars worth of shit here, right, Markane? Anyway. This girl, she goes, well, it's redundant. I looked at her, I said, redundant? Because I pulled out a serving tray with a plastic lid on top that, you know, when you cut up fruit and vegetables and you put them in the little trays with the nice plastic lid on top. I pulled it out. I said, well, why wouldn't you be interested in that? Isn't it that you guys want to entertain? She goes, it can't entertain here. Because when I asked my son why he was moving out, he told me that it was because they wanted to entertain. But I guess the space downstairs isn't big enough for them to entertain, even though they've already had people here. Go figure. Right? And she goes, well, this place is too small. You can't entertain here. I say, okay, fine, but, you know, like, wouldn't you want it for, oh, it's redundant. I said, oh, okay. And then my son, you know, because he feels he has to protect her, right? Because, right? And I'm trying really hard to talk nice, okay? To communicate, right? Because, you know, I don't want another unhealthy relationship with one of my children's partners. I already been through two of them. Went through it with Austin and went through it with Julian. And now I'm going through it with this girl. Okay? It's just starting. So anyway, you know, I could see clearly that she was being sarcastic to me. Let's just say that. And I'm looking more and I'm like, you know, like, what the fuck? Like, and then he's telling me to take more shit out. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, sorry, what the boo-boo, right? Like, what, like, right? Like, you're not even giving me a chance, right, to deal with what I got, what you've already made a big mess, which is going to get all ruined and, or whatever. And you know, and Tisha can't help me because now she's drying up her breasts and she can't move because her breasts are sore. And, you know, like, this is bullshit. I'm spending days again with Amari sitting on the toilet because of these drinks that I'm asked to give him. Like, what the, okay? So, I don't know, conversation kind of moved along a little bit, and now we're in the laundry room. You know, and you know, I just wanted this girl to acknowledge that, to stop and think about what she's doing in terms of egging my son on, because she's egging him on, people. Well, it's redundant. Don't want it. This, you know, I want space. You know, kind of like, right? So now we're, you know, my son is, and now we're in the laundry room. And I asked her, you know, non-threatening voice, I told her, like, aren't you interested in having a healthy relationship with me? I asked her that, people. Well, you know, I realized that, you know, in some situations, you just can't have that. That's what she said to me, people. I said, oh, okay, so that means you don't want to have a healthy relationship with me. Oh, no, just brushed it off, whatever. And of course, my son, right, you know, right? And I'm like, no, you be quiet. Like, I'm asking her questions, right? I'm not yelling, not hollering. You know, I fully want to understand what I'm caught up in. I want to understand what I'm caught up in because I'm tired of my son being mean and acting like a bully and being abusive towards me emotionally, people. Like, I tell him, you should have just left, right? At least Brooks, you know, fucking left like a man. You don't like it at home? Then fucking leave. You just don't start trashing your mother's life so that you can pretend that you have one and bring in a Joan Duncan to help you do it. To be a troublemaker. To stab you in the back. To pit you against your son. She's pitting me against my son, people. And she thinks it's funny because she smirks. And she gets snide, and she snippets with rude comments to justify her behavior in terms of, well, it's my house now, and I don't want that, and I don't want that, and it's redundant, and it's unnecessary, and, right? You know, who cares? So, of course, I'm like, well, okay, so you don't want to have a healthy relationship with me. That's obvious, right? I said, okay, so, but what if the shoe was on the other foot and you took Marcane home to your parents' house, right? And moved in there and went into the basement and just started chucking everything out. Well, first of all, she says they don't even have 2 kitchens. I said, okay, fine, right? They don't have much. No, she said they don't have much, right? I said, so what? They're minimalists? Is that what it is? They're minimalists? She goes, yeah, I guess you could say that. I said, okay. So they don't have a second kitchen, but what if you went home with Marcane, have Marcane move in with you there with your parents' house, and you and Marcane just went into your parents' kitchen and gutted half of it and took it over with a bad attitude? What do you think your parents would do? She didn't care, people. She didn't care. And then, because she didn't really have an answer on that, and if she did, it wasn't anything significant because I don't freaking remember it, she turned around and she switched it and got a Marcane to attack me even more by saying, the conversation is over, we're just going around in circles, it's insignificant, it doesn't matter. And of course, Marcane's taking the cue and jumping on her bandwagon, basically telling me to shut up. And I told him, well, all that shit that's in the freaking garage, you can sit there and watch it mold. And it can get all smelly. And when it gets to that point, you can chuck it out. Being that you're chucking out my shit anyway, like a freaking thief. And how am I supposed to trust this girl in my house to not steal from me, people? Because as far as I'm concerned, what they're doing is no different than theft. They're just doing it at a larger scale. And they're being rude and obnoxious and abusive about it. They're not doing me no favors. I told my son, you could have moved out if that's the case, right? And I could have rented that basement as is for $800-900 a month, and I would have less stress. And it wasn't like I wasn't willing to do shit, but at the end of the day, what's going on is garbage, complete garbage. And yeah, my dream is speaking loud and clear for somebody to come into the house like this and do a freaking Julian Johnson, Austin Luck, Clayton, freaking Murphy, whatever. Just to be, I don't know. Like, I just don't know, people. So now I'm going to live in my house for however long it takes for me to get out of here. Uncomfortable, wondering when I'm going to be stabbed in the back by that girl, basically. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's what it feels like. Stab, 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 stab. Okay? I don't know how to explain it any other way. Because she was just way too snide, way too smug, way too quick to poke the bear with Marcane and get him to jump on me. So that she didn't have to freaking acknowledge what the hell she was doing. In terms of, go home and try it out and see what your parents do. Tell me how your parents would react any more different than what I'm. Right? And even if they're minimalist, whatever little minimal things that they have in their kitchen, be prepared to pack it up and throw it out in the freaking garage and just ignore it. And then call your parents down for having it in the first place. Because that's basically what this girl did. Okay? Let me tell you something. Her parents sure in the hell didn't do no park events. Sure in the hell didn't go out in the community and do all the things that I did. Sure in the hell didn't go out and work with 60 freaking kids at one time for over 2.5 years, 4 times a freaking week. Okay? Her parents hasn't lost their children to illegal organ harvesting and all this other crap that goes on in British Columbia, Canada, so the middle class like her parents can have good lives. Right? It's not just the Punjabis that are harvesting organs. It's the Catholics too. And a few others along the way. And then you've got those handlers that like to lure people to their death. You know what I'm saying? Set them up without them even realizing that they're being set up. So now I've got a rattlesnake in my house. I got something in my house. Because she doesn't care about having a healthy relationship with me, people. Okay? Not even 1 iota. I really got that today. They got me walking around in my own freaking house on pins and needles as they're trashing my shit. And then be rude to me. So I don't have a son. Not anymore. I don't. And whatever he brought home is untrustworthy. Oh yeah, and when I said, well, whatever you do in your relationship, if it goes, you guys start fighting and all this crap, I said, just don't cheat on him. If you break up, don't go off and cheat on him. Give it 6 months to a year. And you know what her response was? What, you can't control yourself for 1 year? before you go off and have sex with somebody else, being that you love my son so much that you're willing to destroy his house, his mother's house? This girl is willing to destroy his mother's house because she loves him so much. But yet, what? She can't, they're going to fight in 6 months to a year from now when the honeymoon period is over? And she's going to go run off and, oh, they broke up for a week and have sex with some other man? Is that it? Because when I said, well, whatever you do, you're here now, you got yourself a good guy if you're looking for monogamy, right? So if you break up or you get into an argument, whatever you do, just stay monogamous yourself for at least 6 months to a year until you know your relationship is completely over with my son. And she goes, as if I was asking for her to climb a fucking mountain. Clearly it disturbed her. So what does that tell you? It shouldn't even have been a second thought. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. I would never do that to your son. No matter what happened in our relationship, I would never go out of my way to purposely hurt your son. But, bitch, I'll go out of my way to fuck with your head and hurt you. And not only that, but I will go out of my way to turn your son against you, bitch. That's what I got in my house. That's what I got in my house, people. Mm-hmm. So I have to find a way to get away from him. Get out of his house. I'm going to never live with him after this. Ever. And that's assuming that I even survive this. Because he's making me sick. With the stress of it. And as far as I'm concerned, this girl's just nothing more than a fucking petty thief. That's sneaking around in the basement, poking at my shit. Being that she has no respect for it. Or me. That I seen clearly today. Oh, yeah. And, you know, I said, well, wouldn't you want that room to be a little bit more of a sewing room versus, you know, you can have your sewing machine in there. I've got dressmaking forms, you know, whatever, right? Oh, no, I'll just sew at the table. I said, oh, okay. Why? When you can sew there? Oh, well, I don't have to. I can go to my mother's house. I have the sunroom in my mother's house if I want my own space to go sew. That's what she told me. I said, oh, so you already have. She said, yeah, my mother doesn't really want me to have it there. She's asking me to get it out too. But I can go there and sew. Okay. But you know what? I'm sure you're poking around in there, looking around what you can scoop up and take to your mother's house without me realizing it, being that you don't like me and you don't even fucking know me. And I'm not nothing like your parents in terms of being minimalist that just wanted to accumulate wealth so I could run around bragging that I'm the middle class, white at that. No, I invested my money into the community with poor families that came in from other countries and that were refugees that really basically nobody cared about. And I worked on a foundation for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. Well, basically, the Punjabi community, the Catholic community, and those kind of communities sabotaged it. Okay, because at the end of the day, they like to poverty pimp, and not only do they poverty pimp, but they like to set families up for illegal organ harvesting after they implode them with their implants. With their implants. Julian was an implant. The person who gave Sierra methamphetamine at age 13 and got her addicted to it was the implant. And it sure in the hell didn't come from no other kid. It came from an adult that wanted a whole bunch of little teenagers running around being addicts. Well, not even teenagers, preteen. So anyway, come on, finish up. I'm going to put you on the toilet. He keeps pushing. Well, maybe I should just go put your ass on the toilet. Let's do that. And we'll finish that when you're on the toilet. So that's it, people. I'm going to show you what I can, and I'm going to end this video because this is pathetic. As if my life isn't hard enough in this bloody place. My son has just made it 1,000 times worse for me. Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, you know, nothing is safe in this house. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. This girl's got a really bad attitude. Ending this video, 3 turkey, 3 broth. This I will do later in terms of broth. I might be able to actually probably get little bits of chicken, so if that's the case, if there's chicken floating around in it, or I'm sorry, that's turkey. Because, right, it will give, I'll have to do it for 90 minutes. Either or, that pot's getting canned, okay? 1 jar didn't seal, so it's in the fridge, so what I'm going to do, you see this, I'm going to grind it up with this, make it really nice. All of it as is, and then I'm going to put them in little jars. I'm going to freeze them for tomorrow. Okay? So I'm done. I'm done, people. I'm done. Okay? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.